This webinar was recorded in January 2026, and it is the practical introduction to AI for business leaders. Okay, good afternoon, everybody, or good morning, good evening, wherever you're attending from in the world. You're very welcome. I'm joined today by my team from Sensys Technology, and on the call today we have AI specialists, IT automation engineers, lean thinkers, and IT automation. So if you have any questions today, please do ask them. The Q&A box is open. Alan Hogan, our technical director, is here. And he will be taking any questions as we go through. So today, Sensys is very much equal part IT and AI and lean thinking. Lean thinking being an absolutely fundamental part of everything we do with the lean methodology. So today we're going to touch on lean methodology. We're going to talk about generative AI, agentic AI, RAG AI, and live demos. We have 4 real-life live agentic AI demos, and everything today that we've promised you was about cutting through the hype and talking about how this can be really used in real businesses and how we're using it already. So just as a couple of more people are joining, so we literally have people registered and online here from all over the world. So right now we have 10 countries, literally from, as they say, Sydney to Sofia, Atlanta to Abu Dhabi. So you're very welcome wherever you are, and thank you for joining. Some are clients, some aren't clients, some are here just to learn, but hopefully over the next hour we can give you incredible value. We're all here to learn about artificial intelligence and how we can use that in our business. So you're very welcome. So we've lots of people join now, so we will kick on. So the next hour, we've only an hour together. It's a complex subject, artificial intelligence. It's a complex subject in what we're about to talk about. I want you to leave here at the end of this hour having received a lot of information, and the next hour is going to feel like drinking from a fire hose. So the plan for today is I'm going to get through it. I'm going to teach you about some of the theory and fundamentals you need to know, and I'm going to show you the live demonstrations working in real business. We have a really cool live demo at the end, which is a voice AI agent carrying out incredible tasks that could only be dreamed of. So please stick around till the end and have a look. Do drop your questions in as we go. Don't hold back. My team and I, we're a friendly bunch. Anything goes, and we'll get to it. If we can't get to it in the call for any reason, we will arrange a follow-up one-on-one afterwards for any specific use cases that you might have. But as I give you the demonstrations today, I'm going to give them to you in real businesses where we've used them. We have a complex range of industries and a vast range of industries, on the call today with a lot of people from a lot of different backgrounds. We felt by giving you real examples that you might be able to take more away from that than just giving you boring theory. However, if that specific use case isn't specifically relevant for your industry, hopefully you can see how it can be adapted where we work across all different types of industries. So before I start, as I said, I'm joined here today with Alan Hogan, our technical director, and the rest of my team across Ireland, the UK, US, and Dubai. My name is Ben Killeen. If we haven't met before, I have 18 years of experience in IT, technology, and systems thinking. A lot of my research and work academically was in artificial intelligence and lean thinking. I have an MBA from Trinity College Dublin. It hasn't all been academic, real businesses. I run and operate 3 businesses across Ireland, the UK, and from the AI Centre in Dubai in the United Arab Emirates. And I spend a lot of time around lean thinking businesses, including spending time in Japan this year with Toyota and T1, T2 suppliers into Toyota. So you might be asking, I'm here for an AI demo. I'm here for an AI seminar. Why am I talking about lean thinking? And hopefully that will come clear. So our goal for the next hour is to help you understand the possibilities of pragmatic AI in your business and how you can really put this stuff to work. So we've been all talking about it and listening to it for years, but how can we adopt it? How can we make this work? So if you take away that from today, after an hour, I think we'll be doing well. However, what I want you to think about in terms of lean is how can we see waste? And that's what lean thinking is all about. It originated from the Toyota production system for in manufacturing, but is now adopted across all types of industries, from government to manufacturing to finance, legal, and so on. So if we can see waste in a business, if we can uncover the waste, and if we can use lean thinking to eliminate that waste from processes and optimize them, and then use AI to optimize together, honestly, they are so powerful. This is where we're seeing the biggest wins for business. You don't need to know, as a business leader, manager, or operator, if you're not technical, exactly the microns of how this stuff goes together with artificial intelligence. But you do need to know, I would suggest, how the Lego blocks fit together, have the helicopter view. If you're making strategic decisions in your business about operations, about staffing, about investments, you certainly need to know and understand it going forward, and to ask the right questions of the softwares and suppliers and people you're dealing with. So that's the formalities and the introductions. Let's get right to it. So we've all heard about AI. We've all heard about, you can't open the newspaper or read the media now without, talking about artificial intelligence. But really, there's a lot of anxiety, and perhaps maybe you have some anxiety around AI. What does it mean for your job? What does it mean for your business? And if you don't, your staff certainly will. We do a lot in change management. We work with a lot of businesses. So if you can take away in the next couple of minutes what artificial intelligence actually is, we're halfway there, okay? So it's not some kind of sci-fi robot that's coming to take over. It's certainly not magic. And that might seem funny to you, but I know certainly from speaking with a lot of people, respectfully, they don't necessarily know what it is. And if we don't know what something is, well, then we become very nervous of how to use it and whether we want to use it in our lives and business. So my first proposal to you today is all that artificial intelligence is sophisticated pattern recognition. Now, pattern recognition, if you can internalize that and think about that in terms of what it can do, is it enables computers to perform tasks that typically required human intelligence. So we've all talked about systems for years. In the last 18 years of my career, I would often get pushback from people in saying, no, we can't systemize that. We need Mary or John in the office who's been here forever. They know how to do that. Well, my proposal today is based on pattern recognition. Hopefully I'm going to break through that barrier. So artificial intelligence is made up of 4 building blocks, 4 areas, and you might have heard of some of these terms already. But the first one is machine learning. Okay, so machine learning is how AI learns. Okay, and basically it's a system that learns from data patterns without explicit programming. Now, what do I mean by that? You all use software in your everyday lives and business. In fact, we're on a software right now communicating, and all software is basically strict rules that a system needs to follow. It's if X happens, then do Y. Okay, so whether you're using a CRM system, an accounting system, whatever that might be, that's what software is. Now, AI is different. Instead of hard rules and instead of coding, we feed it lots of examples and it figures out patterns itself based on the past examples. So it's actually very much like training a new employee. And this is where the agentic AI piece will come in. So if you have a new employee that starts, perhaps, it's very unlikely you're going to give them a 500-page rule book of programming that employee of how we do it. And even if you do, they're probably not going to read it. But the best way to teach an employee is you show them examples of what's good and bad, and they start recognizing what good looks like. And in fact, that's exactly how machine learning works. If we keep with that analogy and we move over to the neural networks block of artificial intelligence, well, neural networks is, the pattern recognition engine. Okay, so this is just the engine that allows AI to spot complex patterns that humans can't see. So if machine learning is the concept that we've talked about, neural networks is the machinery that does the heavy lifting. So it's actually, neural networks is inspired by biology, actually, and it's like layers of decision making. So the first layer is, an example is An email, if it's reading an email, the first layer would be, well, is this email a complaint or a request? And the next layer of a neural network would be, or the decision making rather, would be, what's the tone of that email? Is it angry or is it neutral? And the following layer would be, does it require urgent attention? So it's much more intelligent than software, but each layer, I guess, refines understanding. Okay, so if we can internalize what the machine learning piece is and the neural networks piece, we move on to the training data. Now, this is probably the most important part. And for you as a business owner or a manager or a leader, you do need to understand that AI has to be trained on vast data sets. And that's what teaches the AI system to recognize these patterns. So if you've used ChatGPT or Gemini or Copilot, the training set of that is the whole internet, and that's how large the training data set could be. But it can also just be something as simple as your own internal data in your company. In fact, we can ground it in that data so that the source is so reliable that you're giving it the data it's trained on. In fact, just last week, we worked on a project with a legal department whereby we trained the AI model on the legal Bible as such, or the revision of 2026 on UK law. So the system can't get it wrong. So we can literally go from that. We can train it on emails, train it on your file share. But the training data is very important. And one thing you need to know is the quality of that training data impacts the quality of the response you get out. Think bad teacher, bad student, good teacher, good student. So it's so important. Past invoices, sales calls, tickets, requests, pattern behavior, customer behavior. We learn on all of that stuff. Now, where things start to get a bit sexy is inference. And this is where AI comes into its own for business. So inference is about real-time decision making based on the learned knowledge of previous steps. And this is where AI stops learning. It stops going to school as such, and we start putting it to work. So inference is when AI uses what it's learned to make real decisions in real time. So the best example I can give of this, or the best analogy rather, is a chef. So a chef goes to college for 4 years, and he's given or she's given explicit programs. And those programs are typically recipes. So you learn 300 or 400 recipes, perhaps. Okay. And after the 4 years, you have all of that knowledge. You've realized all these patterns. But then at that stage, you can probably walk into any kitchen without an explicit program. And then you're presented with 20 ingredients. And those 20 ingredients are made up of tomatoes, garlic, pasta, whatever it may be. It's that time of the afternoon. I'm getting hungry, but the chef can decide, and based on all of it's not on all of their knowledge, they can decide and then take action based on those recipes. Well, actually, that's what inference is, and that's where the sophisticated pattern recognition that enables the computers to take those tasks. That's where we typically require human intelligence, but AI is now can do that on your behalf. So I think that's enough for the foundations for a moment. It will all come clear as we move into real examples. But if you're with me so far, please do put the questions in the Q&A box, or give us the thumbs up. Let us know everyone is with me so far. If I'm confusing the living daylights out of you, please also put that in there, and we can hopefully clear up anything, or else we'll keep going. So Alan, are we all good for questions? All coming in?
All good.
Okay.
Okay, so the Sensys approach. You can go anywhere and find any amount of information you want on the internet about artificial intelligence. There's many courses out there. I've attended all the webinars all over the world, and for me, here's a key fact for you: AI implementations, proper AI implementations, not just rolling out ChatGPT or Copilot, which is what most businesses call an AI implementation, but that will come clear in a moment. 95% of projects failed up till the end of last year. Now, that's not just our data. In fact, it's not our data, it's not our clients, but based on Harvard and MIT data globally, 95% of AI implementations failed. And here's the reason why. Everybody jumps to deploying AI and automation. Everybody gets excited about perhaps shiny object syndrome and what this technology is going to do. But if we start with lean thinking, and this is where lean thinking and AI intersects for us, and why we're so passionate about it, because we can see the power of it, is if you take any given process in your business. Now, hopefully, you're thinking about something that really annoys you, or as we like to say, fix what bugs you. There has to be so many processes that are riddled with manual entry, waiting, things that just don't flow. A process in your business that perhaps one or two people know, or nobody else follows it, the flow just stops and it doesn't run nicely. Well, if you take that process and you map that current process of how it actually happens right now, step one, step two, step three, right down to 20 to 50 steps, whatever it might be, and you try to eliminate waste. Now, how do you do that? You ask, why do we do it like this? Why? Because it's always done like this. Or is there a better way? Is there a faster way? Is there a cheaper way? Now, when you're doing with this, we call this putting on your waste goggles. Now, waste in a lean thinking point of view is anything that doesn't add value to the customer, anything that the customer is not willing to pay for. The best analogy I heard in the US is when I stopped and somebody said, see that barber shop? When is value being created for the customer? It's when the razor is going through somebody's hair or the scissors. Everything else is waste, should be eliminated or reduced. Now, if you think about your business, I bet there's so many steps. So we have our waste goggles on. Now, what we're looking for, there's 8 lean wastes, but there's many different wastes in different business. Waiting, so delayed approvals. There's so many processes like that. Over processing, so manual data entry. Manual data entry is gone. Motion, switching between systems, between Excel, accounting systems, CRMs, ERPs, industry-specific softwares. Defects from humans, backlog requests. So this is whereby we can look at this and say, okay, there is a better way. Forget about AI for a second. Forget about automation. Let's map out and document a standard SOP. An SOP, for those who don't know, is a standard operating procedure. Most people use standard operating procedures for their ISO audits or industry audits, put them in a cupboard and don't look at them from one year to the next. We live and breathe in SOPs. There's some really good and easy documentation to do it. Here's how we do it. Everyone knows how the safety rams are done. Everyone knows how the wages are done. Everyone knows how whatever it might be. It should be IKEA type instructions. When the standard operating procedures is done, that is great data for now either given to a human, by the way, or AI. And only at that stage in a process should you deploy AI and automation. Get clear, otherwise it won't work. So then it's deciding who's going to do what. AI and automation should handle data entry, scheduling, routine tasks, monitoring, reporting, initial triage, depends on your use case. Humans can then focus on complex decisions, relationship management, escalations from that, and they create a side that a computer is never going to do. I'm not going to dwell on this slide too much, but the type of use cases for AI, and the reason I'm not going to dwell on it is because I want to get to real examples, is customer service. 24/7 from WhatsApp, email, Microsoft Teams, phone even, and I'll show you that in a moment, is these things don't sleep. Really good customer service. Data analytics, dashboards. If your CEO, CFO, or whatever department you work in, you don't have the key metrics to hand quite easily, well, then AI can be really useful for this. My argument is that there's too much data in systems nowadays. There's data in all different types of systems all over the business. It's too much to digest. So the dashboards that we build for clients using artificial intelligence typically looks and says, well, I need this data from this system, this data from this system. And it's about gathering that. It's the dashboard in your car. It's, I want to see the engine light, the fuel light, the rev counter, and so on. And everything else, we can do the diagnostics afterwards. But if I'm to drive this business, we need real-time analytics. Risks and compliance and finance and legal, HR and recruitment on company handbooks. It's massive. Process automation, which we're going to show you more of today, and knowledge search within your business. But let's get to some real examples in a few moments. Now, when does AI come into play, and do I even need it in my business? Okay, things have worked okay for years. Why do I need this? Well, my first proposal to you is that no matter what the size of your business is, you have exponential complexity in even what might seem the most simple of decisions. So let's put that to test. If you're with me, all traditional software works something like this. If this condition happens, then do this, or else do that. Okay, I've oversimplified it here, but that is what computer code is. And software that you're working on today or have done for years is, and that's all it is. They're hard coded rules of if, else, and while loops. And they're absolutely perfect. Software was revolutionary when scenarios are simple and rules can be easily defined. But every day of the week, I have conversations with customers who don't realize the power of AI and pattern recognition to say, nah, there's no way a system could do that. We need, sure, how would somebody decide that? Or how would a system decide that? And this is where AI powered systems comes in. Remember, it's pattern recognition. It learns from data patterns. It handles complex scenarios where rules can't be easily written. So if we're saying that traditional software is if this happens, then do that or else do that, in fact, on a piece of paper, that literally looks like a decision tree. So that decision tree becomes really complex in most scenarios. And the complexity challenge here is the game of X's and O's for the Irish in my home country, or in the UK, for our UK audience, it's noughts and crosses, and our Americans over the sea, it's tic-tac-toe. But did you know that there's 255,000 ways, or over 255,000 ways of winning that game? Okay. But perhaps you could hard code that with a decision tree. So if you've recently lost a game of X's and O's to your child, you're just bad at X's and O's. You can imagine the conversations that go on in our house with 5-year-olds. Anyway, but traditional software, can be coded for this to win every time, or at least force a draw. But when you get to the game of chess, the first four moves alone, the first four moves alone, there's over 85 million possible positions on that chessboard. So I think, you'll all agree that decision tree in software or in somebody's mind fails. This is where pattern recognition is required. Now, I'm obviously using that as an analogy, but if I bring that back to business logic, when your business decisions involve thousands of variables, such as, what we know about the customer's behavior, the different market conditions, the skill sets, the resource availabilities, what's happened in the past, goodbye software, goodbye decision trees, and this is where AI comes in. So I'm going to propose that again. You have exponential complexity in your business life and your daily decision making. You probably don't realize it, but let me explain and see if you agree with me on this. Think about this. I'd love the answers into the chat box. Please do get them in. Let's make this as interactive as possible. You're a delivery driver, or your job, in fact, is to arrange for 10 customer visits today. And the 10 customer visits are for one delivery driver. That's it. Probably oversimplifying this for business. So 10 packages to be delivered. How easy is it to work out the optimal route for that delivery driver? Now, how long would that take you to do, do you think? 10 stops, all relatively local, within a couple of hours of each other. But take a moment to think. Have we got questions coming in on or answers? Perfect. So to be fair, 10 customer visits, one delivery driver, it's pretty simple. For the optimal route, let me tell you that 10 stops, there's 3.6 million possible routes that can be taken. So you definitely need software. It's not something that can be worked out on a piece of paper optimally. Now, even software in a decision tree, it's pretty hard to do that with if this happens, then do that, or if else rules. But look at how much this problem compounds. If I go to the very left, I have 3 stops, there's 6 possible routes. If I have 25 stops, remember this is just one delivery driver in one day and I haven't added in any problems yet, there's an infinite amount of possible routes just for 25 stops. Or in fact, I think the number is, if I'm correct, is 15 septillion routes according to Google. Now, that's more than all of the grains of sand on earth. There's nobody that can work that out properly. Software can't do it. And this is where pattern recognition comes in. So you might say, well, I don't deliver, or I don't arrange 10 packages to be delivered, but perhaps it's allocating work to construction staff, accountants, legal work, whatever it may be. I hope you get the concept. Staff scheduling. If I only had 5 staff on fixed shift with 120 combinations, staff can work, software will probably work it out. If I have 60 staff with different skill sets, different availability, different preferences of who works with who, pairing, personalities, whatever it may be, AI is needed. Most businesses have some kind of inventory or stock. Now, if you have 10 products with stable demand, simple reordering rules, then software works. But if you only have 1,000 SKUs, seasonal trends, different supply chains of who we're going to purchase from, this is for the purchasing managers out there, there's infinite variables. You need AI to do this properly. So when, writing millions of if-else rules aren't going to work, AI can learn from complex decisions. So let me get into the different types of AI. This is something that most people aren't aware of. And if you are aware of it, let us know. And if not, so my first question for the question box is, are you using ChatGPT? Are you using Gemini, Microsoft Copilot? What are you using for generative AI? Are you uploading documents? Are you asking it questions? How do you find it? So please go ahead and put the questions in. So what most people are aware of in AI is generative AI. Okay, generative AI. And if we think about this for a second, this is ChatGPT. We want it to help us write an email. A lot of people almost, do therapy on it at this stage. We're talking to it like a pen pal. It creates images, it can create documents, conversations, audio. Some of it's phenomenal, right? It can even create hard code for those software systems. And it typically looks like this: is you have a chat bot on your phone or in Microsoft Copilot down the bottom right hand of the phone, and we can ask it anything. You can type to it, so how do I start with AI? It will go off and it will give you an answer. So that's generative AI. And I'm not going to touch on that too much today. The only thing I would say is, if you are using generative AI for business, whether it's Copilot, Gemini, ChatGPT, whatever it is, most licenses are about €20 per user per month. Do not give sensitive business information such as finance documents and so on to free licenses, because they're quite clear that their AI model is trained on that information. If you pay for the license, there's a private cloud for you, and your information isn't training the public cloud. If you're unsure, ask us. We'll be happy to help. And just pop us an email or a WhatsApp or whatever it may be. We're only too happy to help if you're unsure. But it's a great place to get started. Agentic AI, guys, is where you're going to get the most benefit out of AI. And I think this is the dream for most people, is how do I get this into my organization to carry out tasks? And that's exactly what agentic AI is. If generative AI is the creative friend, agentic AI carries out tasks. It receives a goal, it's programmed on what to do, it has access to tools in your business, such as your finance systems, your dashboard systems, your industry-specific software, your emails, whatever we allow it to do, and it essentially breaks that into tasks and carries out roles. So this is a real-life scenario. The names are wrong for obvious reasons, but if you have a managing director in your business, and this is a typical org chart, perhaps it's a CFO or a finance director, head of people or HR director, people are still required. This isn't coming to eliminate people, but I have my own opinions on, where AI will affect the workplace and work and affect jobs and businesses. And we can touch on that at the end if we have some time, but it's my opinion. But each of these can be an assistant across different departments. They're not an out-of-the-box solution. It's specific for your problems, and it's the best way to handle it, okay? But AI agents should be across your business. So our first demonstration in our operations department, the operations department in this scenario has a complex task to do. So if you agree with me that scheduling people in that scenario is quite complex, well then a service company in this scenario needs to schedule 60 field engineers across 47 client appointments in 3 cities. We need to consider skills, travel time, billable hours, invoicing. So we give the system, we would typically build you a web page, or you would build it yourself if you're on DIY. Then you give the system your staff that's available, their address, their search, their skills matrix from your lean thinking, and you let the system do it itself. So an agent is typically triggered. It's a part of our workflow, which I'll show you in a moment, but it has to be triggered to carry out an action. So that trigger could be an inbound email, a WhatsApp message, a button, which I'm about to press, but typically this will be probably done on a schedule. So in this scenario, I'm running the AI agent, and the operation schedule is receiving all the scheduling requests from the day before. It's coordinating 60 engineers across 47 appointments in Dublin and Cork. It's analyzing the team's availability, skills, current locations. It's optimizing the routes because it has access to Google Maps and so on, and where everyone lives. It matches and schedules the correct technicians based on skills. It sends all the confirmation to the staff and the client with their ETA, and it looks after all of the billing. Now, I'm going to be very conservative and say it would take somebody at least 15 minutes to do it. And I think hopefully by now we've proved that a person cannot do that optimally. So if it takes 15 minutes, in this pretty simple scenario that would happen in a lot of businesses, saving 15 minutes a day, 47 jobs is 11 hours a day for something that happens instantly with a better experience. I'm going to jump on and show you where an AI agent sits as part of our workflow. So in our industry, we would typically call this an orchestration or a workflow. We're the conductors of the orchestra, and we're going to let you know where humans and people are going to carry out their tasks. But in this scenario, it's AI agent only. And here we have a WhatsApp trigger. We have WhatsApp for Business. Now, WhatsApp for Business, by the way, if you're not allowing your customers to communicate with you on WhatsApp, but WhatsApp for Business now, you're missing a trick, but that's another day's conversation. 3 billion users on WhatsApp, and most of us are still stuck in email. But anyway, customer message is received into the system. As part of the workflow, we have a memory store because we want to give this system context. We don't want it as a dumb agent who has no context on the past or what the history is. So the AI agent here needs to retrieve that context before it can answer this customer scheduling and query. In this scenario, the AI agent sits here ready to process and decide what the response is. OpenAI is the large language model, and we've given it access to tools such as Google Calendar. Now, I'm going to show you a real-life example with a voice AI agent in a few minutes of where this can be really powerful, and it's responding. But we're giving the agent access to CRM, scheduling, and notifications. Now, the AI agent is one part of the orchestration, but it's really important to get the lean thinking of how does this work? Because if you don't and get that process right, I've oversimplified this here for the purposes of the conversation today, but it's so important that we, get that orchestration right. It's the piece that everyone misses or everyone skips over, because in fact, it's maybe the boring piece or the piece that's not so sexy. It's where you're going to get this to work in your business. Now, we've talked about generative AI. We've talked about agentic AI. Is everyone still with me? Please let me know in the chat box. When I'm presenting a presentation and I can't see you, it's very off-putting. So is everyone still with us, Alan? Is there questions coming in? All good. So RAG systems, retrieval augmented generation. Okay, we're talking about 4 different types of AI. We've talked about generative, the creative guy, the agentic AI, the person who gets stuff done. RAG AI, it's going to retrieve, and then I'm going to show you a voice AI agent, which is really cool. So the RAG AI is where it's going to retrieve your data. It's grounded in your data. You have so many documents in your SharePoint or on your server, or get them to the cloud. Manuals, policies, emails, think of all that data. Your organization's knowledge spread across everywhere. And searching through files and so on, like that day is gone. So if you have this knowledge database, even in Microsoft Copilot at the bottom right-hand side of your emails or in Google, you can give it access to that information. And in fact, you can say, I only want that source to be my information to give you an accurate answer. So retrieval augmented generation is something that most people even have licenses for and they don't know how to use. So if not, let us know and we can even give you a separate video or do a separate session on it. But so powerful. An example of RAG AI that I've just talked about. This is a real example for us. A solicitor. You can imagine all the acts, all the legal textbooks. There's legal databases. There's information from law societies, acts and legislation. A simple solicitor's practice, needs access to this. So a solicitor can ask the system, what is the disclosure requirements under the Consumer Right Acts 2015 for online sales? So the AI response, the solicitor cannot take the risk to allow that to go out to the internet to find the information that's been wrote by some rogue marketing guy. He needs to know, or she needs to know, that this is grounded in solid advice. So in this scenario, we actually took those ebooks, or the legal Bibles, as I call them, put them on their SharePoint. It parses that information, it takes it, and it can also give it in human language, for want of a better word, for someone who's not legal. But taking it and grounding it and citing the sources. Now, I've given you a legal example. If you're not from a legal background, maybe it can be useful as well. But that goes for tax and accounting. It goes for finance, your employee handbooks. What's our policy on sick leave, whatever that might be, medical and healthcare. It's being used, or even just your pricing book, your tenders, your rates. If you're the person that everybody comes to in a company and asks, how do I bill this, or how do we work at this tender, or whatever it may be, document it, let AI do the rest. Now, how they work together is, which one should we use? Well, the answer is all of them, actually. Generative AI creates content, RAG provides the knowledge, and agentic AI takes action. Okay? Lots of people give me this scenario. Ben, I am a corporate business to business company. We can't have this call center robotic environment, or I'm a premium hotel. This is a real example. A luxury hotel in Ireland. Weddings is where their income comes from. Now, what we learned about this hotel is that its fastest fingers first is the problem. So we created a wedding coordinator to get people to view their hotel. So in this scenario, Sarah and James have just got engaged, and they're really excited, and they're in their early 30s. They're a young professional couple who, work Monday to Friday. They have Saturdays and Sundays off. On Friday night, Sarah and James are sitting down to look at all their dream venues, to book in bookings with wedding coordinators in the luxury hotels all over beautiful County Kildare in Ireland, or Sofia, or wherever that might be. Now, they'll get excited and email everyone, and typically the hotel pushes them down the route of filling in a boring form on their website or sending them an email. Now, Sarah and James, who are in their early 30s, live on WhatsApp. 3 billion people live on WhatsApp. So we have an AI agent listening, ready for emails, WhatsApps, phone calls, reading the inbound emails, and their primary mission is to respond within 60 seconds with a personalized, warm response, while securing in-person viewing appointments with Sinead, who is the human wedding coordinator. Okay, so the wedding coordinator, Sinead, works Monday to Friday. However, on Saturday night, or Friday night, suggest to the person, here's the booking link, here's all the information you need to know about, not with a robotic, hi, first name, thank you for your response. That day and age is gone. And this is where most of the hands up go with this, is people have been burned with that horrible robotic emails. But this can answer about their garden wedding, it can answer about pricing, availability, but we set the guardrails. But its primary role is book out Sinead's calendar. And genuinely, in this hotel, they've had 3 times more bookings in the last quarter of last year. It's added hundreds of thousands of euros. Response times are down, and it's a great first impression for that person. But this hotel was the first to say to me, I'm not sure. I'm just, we're a luxury resort. We trialed it for them. The results have been absolutely amazing. Okay, this is a hotel, but hopefully now you're thinking about how this can work in your business. I forgot to say to you, why it's the first 3 viewings in a hotel. The excited married couple to be set off about looking at all these venues, and by the 3rd venue, typically the grumpy husband to be is saying, "Come on, Sarah, I've had enough of looking around. Just book the bloody wedding." And that's why, is if we're not in the first 3, fastest fingers first, we're not getting the wedding typically. Okay. An AI-powered finance department. Here's another demo. So the old way is typically creating monthly cash flow forecasts on Excel, 13 weeks or whatever it might be, a monthly profit and loss balance sheet, accruals, prepayments that are manually done, late reporting after the fact, chasing debtors, which nobody likes to do. And most people tell me, but we've been on Sage or we've been on Zero or QuickBooks or SAP or whatever it might be for years. It's the single source of truth in our business. We're not moving off it and it can't do it. So what I'm saying is that's fine. Let that bookkeeping and ledgers happen in those accounting softwares. AI can sit outside of this, and it can take information from your payroll systems, your legacy systems, and the new way is giving you real-time information and allowing this to happen automatically. So imagine at month end or even live on a dashboard, we start the demo, we're doing a data synchronization of 2,847 transactions across Sage. We're doing all of our accruals and prepayments automatically. We're reconciling any anomalies, looking at this unusual €15,000 vendor payment, duplicate invoices, and preparing the financial statements. And once the financial statements are approved, well, typically a financial controller or manager will come and give their commentary to make it meaningful. So here, this is called human in the loop. We don't want it going to the stakeholders. We don't want it going to the CFO or CFO without somebody approving it. All we want to do is make their life easy. So the person will review the information, hit approve and continue, and now we will push it out to the dashboards of those users. I'm going to jump over the estimating department one for a moment, and we can, if anybody wants to hang around at the end, we can show it, but I'm conscious of time. But this is RFPs and e-tenders, which is a massive issue to handle for people. But voice AI agents, hopefully this brings it all together, okay? It's using RAG, grounded in the information, it's using generative, and it's using agentic. Have a look at this live demo of a real call. Well, it was a demonstration call, but we're about to book an appointment.
In this video, I'm going to give an AI voice agent a phone call. For context, this AI voice agent has access to many tools, and those tools are booking calendars in Google or Microsoft or your company's CRM systems. It has access, in this case, to WhatsApp and email for notifying the customers and the internal staff. It has access to payment links to collect payment for the consultation. And it also has system context, so it knows what its job is to do, and it also has access to memory, so for past context of conversations. So let's go ahead and give Wilson's Architects a phone call to book a consultation.
You're calling Wilson Architects. How can I help?
Hi, I'm Ben. I'm looking to get a consultation for designing our new offices that we've just taken possession of. My company's Sensys. Is that something you can help me with?
Hi Ben, thanks for reaching out. We definitely do consultations for office renovations.
Thanks.
To get started, you're very welcome Ben. To get started, our initial consultation costs €450 and lasts about an hour. During that time, one of our architects will sit down with you to discuss your ideas, requirements, and what's feasible for your new offices. Would you like to go ahead and schedule a time? If so, I'll just need to check our availability for you. Also, could you please confirm your contact number?
Yeah, so my contact number is 086 122 4710. In terms of when to do it, ideally Monday morning if you can.
Thanks, Ben. Let me check our availability for Monday morning. Just a moment, please. Thanks for that, Ben. It looks like we have openings on Monday, February 9th at 11 a.m., 12 p.m., 1 p.m., or 4 p.m. Which of those times suits you best?
Let me see. I think 11 a.m. That way I'll miss the traffic if possible.
Great, Ben. Your consultation is all booked for Monday, February 9th at 11 a.m. I've sent you a WhatsApp message with the confirmation and a payment link to secure your spot. Is there anything else I can assist you with today?
No, that's great. Thanks for your help. So in this video, you can see in this specific case, we've booked and gone ahead and taken the slot for 11 o'clock. my name, my phone number has gone into the calendar system. Of course, this can be done in Microsoft systems, Google systems, or any calendar system that you use. In the meantime, I've also gone ahead and received a WhatsApp message from Wilson's Architects confirming the date and time, and also a credit card payment link. So I'm just going to go ahead here and book my meeting in, take the payment. So you can see the amount of waste that this has taken away, the amount of efficiency it's created. It's happy customers and it's a really efficient business.
All right, so you can see it's really realistic. Now, the power of this isn't just an annoying answering machine where I see a lot of people programming this. It's helping that AI agent be really useful, and that's when it becomes so powerful. Give it access to the information, let it answer the questions, give it access to the tools. Okay, by the way, we can choose the different accents as well, depending on the region. So it's becoming better and better literally every week. So the elephant in the room that I always get asked is, well, at one time I asked AI a question and it didn't get it right. So, it's not there yet, is it? It's getting there. Well, my answer is that's a hallucination, okay? If we accept from the start that AI is a pattern recognition system, then therefore, simplified is, it's just what's the most likely next word based on patterns and training data. Now that goes for if you're speaking to ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever it might be, it goes for the voice AI agent. It's not a factual database. AI doesn't look up information. It doesn't know what it doesn't know. All it does is generate the most likely next word on what's statistically plausible. So typically what happens is, you ask any AI what the capital of France is, it will probably tell you Paris based on pattern recognition of everything it's been trained on to date. But if you ask it, who is the 47th employee of your company, it might possibly give you a very, plausible sounding made up answer of John Smith, the same as who's the third person on the moon. And understanding hallucinations, and NVIDIA give a great demonstration on this, is that's why AI will confidently give you an answer, even if it's not true. But it doesn't know what it doesn't know. It's pattern recognition. And if we can understand that, well, then we can control the risk. So it's, as I said, it's a hallucination, and how you mitigate against that is with the following. Now, what I'm going to say is, if you just implemented the following, you kind of take the sauce or the magic out of AI as such. But there's some things that you need to. So in that legal document I gave you, grounding the AI response in verified company data is so important. It's legal, it's HR, it's tax. We don't want it to be creative. So that's when we would use RAG AI, retrieval augmented generation. However, we can also give the AI model prompts. Now, you'll hear about this and you'll see it all over the internet about how important your prompt is. Ask it the right question, get the right answer. Well, there's two different types of prompts you actually need to know. There's the user prompt that you will be familiar with. That's me responding to the voice AI agent. It's me speaking with my ChatGPT internally. But there's also the system prompt. It's setting up your customized GPTs as specialists. So you're a specialist financial analyst or a wedding coordinator assistant, and it's giving them context to know, this is your clear instructions. This is what you do. This is what you don't know. Sorry, this is what you don't do. And if you don't know the answer, say, I don't know. Only answer questions and solutions on our products. We can build in guardrails to say, don't speak about our competitors, avoid the question, whatever that might be. It's going to be different to each case. But giving that system context, giving the system memory based on, past customer interactions, past interactions with yourself, makes a good AI model. Human in the loop is an additional safeguard. Here's a real example for us. In our own business, we take in hundreds of support tickets. We don't want AI just responding to the support tickets, but technical people aren't very good at prioritizing, or aren't very good at paperwork, or aren't very good at billing. So our AI agent will triage every request into us. It will suggest a priority, suggest the billability based on the information we've given it, and also communicate with the customer. Are we on SLA? But what it's doing is it's pushing this information to the support engineer for them to make the decision. It's not doing it for them in that case because the stakes are too high. We also set confidence thresholds on how sure the AI model is or the AI agent is. And we could do things as if you're less than 80% sure, escalate it to a human. Fine tuning it over time. Remember, it's machine learning. It's very much like a child. If it does well, we give it, you've done good feedback. Here's a cookie. Here's a +1. If it don't do well, we also give a feedback and say, well, you haven't done so well that time. This is what I want you to do going forward. The best practice here is, depending on your context, is multi-layering all of these solutions. There's some key considerations. Data security. Get the professional licenses, guys. Don't put this in. The amount of people spending a fortune on cybersecurity and then uploading their management accounts to ChatGPT scares me. Hallucinations, we understand it. Change management within your organization, your management team, even yourself, your staff are definitely anxious about this. Teach them about it. How can they make your company better, your processes better if they don't know? Use it ethically. We're not afraid of telling people. We're not trying to say the AI voice agent is a person. We're quite clear about it. We see the CSAT responses. We see how friendly and polite they are to the AI agent. Be transparent and start small. Common pitfalls to avoid in your AI projects is don't try and change everything overnight. Fix what bugs you. We love that term here. It's continuous improvement. It's Kaizen. It's lean thinking. Take one process, do it, and you'll become addicted with this stuff. The data quality, get them off your servers, get it into the cloud. Microsoft, AWS, whoever the reputable company is in your area, get help if you need it. Watch the change management. People will push back against this unless we explain it, teach them. And don't forget the governance. So how do we get started? Where do you leave from today? Well, hopefully you've got some value from today. I appreciate it was a lot of information, but I did have an hour and we're coming up on that, and I want to get to questions where hopefully you'll get the real value. But start with process mapping. We use some great tools, but actually a piece of paper and a pen is the best tool at all. Map out the process. Why have I been doing it like this for years? Fix what bugs you. Lean thinking, waste goggles, uncover the waste. Remove the waste, see the waste first of all, get rid of it off the paper. Why do we do it like this? And you'd be surprised if you're people and you come thinking like this, all of a sudden you end up with people who are process engineers all over your company. Put an AI pilot in. This stuff is very affordable now. It only makes sense if there's an ROI. Do the business case. We can help you with that. And scale and continuously improve. Kaizen, it's continuous improvement. I'm going to give you my opinion now in a second on how AI is changing the workforce and staff, and I'll come to that in a second. If you want to take this further, there's 4 options I see as the next step. One is you leave today, and hopefully we've given you some value, and that's it. We're not going to annoy you, following you up and so on. We hope that you've got some value. Please do give us feedback. We want to know, should we run more of these? Should we run the lean webinar workshop? Would people get value out of that for an hour? Please do. We do have a paid training course. One day on the 11th of March is our next date. There's 11 places left. It's €1,200 per person for that day. And then following week, I think it is on the 25th of March, maybe it's 2 weeks, we have 13 places on lean operations in the age of AI. So those training courses are for your staff, they're for your management team, they're for anybody that's interested more. Hopefully we've given you enough value from today, but obviously we have an hour, we need to be realistic. Failing that, we do work with companies, coaching them. We look at your processes. We get our hands dirty with the processes. We use lean thinking. We coach your employees. We come every week. In this scenario, it's 3-hour weekly workshops with them. But to be honest, if we don't have the fundamentals of lean thinking and what AI is about, this is start with the training courses, and then we can get in and help. If you want to secure your place, you want to come on the course, put it into the chat. Melissa and Susan are on the call here, and we can arrange that for you. It will be, the 11th of March isn't too far off. It's actually, just over a month away. So the places are limited. Email ben@sensys.ie if we can help you at all.